Gentlemen, all assembled guests, you are so very welcome to the inaugural Ireland-Ukraine Economic Forum on this historic occasion of the first state visit by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy. Please can I ask you to be upstanding and give a warm round of applause to Taoiseach Micheál Martin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy. Thank you so much. Welcome also to Ukraine's Deputy Minister for the Economy and Agriculture, Ukraine Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic integration of Ukraine, to our own Taoiseach, our own Taoiseach, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Minister for Enterprise and extended members of the Irish and Ukrainian delegations. You can take your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome also to all of our assembled guests here tonight from across the Irish and Ukrainian business community, members of the media, and to all of you at home joining us from Ireland, Ukraine and beyond through our public service broadcaster RTE. And over the next 90 minutes for everyone in this room, I hope you're going to really leave with a real sense of the Ireland-Ukrainian relationship as it is today, but what it might look and feel like into the future, and the ambitions for that post-war business environment that Ireland and Ukrainian governments look forward to. And I think as we go along tonight, we'll also recognise the contribution of the Ukrainian diaspora here in Ireland and their contribution as citizens to our local economy, and how all of that will help to foster deeper Ireland-Ukrainian business linkages. And now, with that, to formally commence proceedings here tonight, please give a warm welcome to the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade and Minister for Defence, Helen McEntee. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Anya. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Vitayu. President Zelensky, Minister Sibiya, Taoiseach, Taoiseach, ambassadors, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honour to welcome His Excellency Volodymyr Zelenskiy, President of Ukraine, to Ivy House, the home of Ireland's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, for the inaugural Ireland-Ukraine Economic Forum. Laskavo proshimo do Irlandis. You are very welcome to Ireland. These walls have witnessed many historic events in the life of our country, and today's event is no different. Since the outbreak of Russia's full-scale invasion, Ireland and the Irish people have stood in full solidarity and support with Ukraine. That commitment remains steadfast today. We stand with the Ukrainian people in the face of Russia's continuing aggression. We stand in admiration at the bravery, the courage and determination of the Ukrainian people to overcome this brutal aggression, and I pay tribute to you, President Zelensky, for your bravery and your fortitude in the face of years of Russian aggression and war. We look to a better future for Ukraine and its people, when peace has returned, a peace that is just and lasting. We want to see your country benefit from the progress, the prosperity and the security that over 5 decades of EU membership has brought to Ireland. Mr. President, Taoiseach, despite these challenging times, Ireland and Ukraine have built close ties of support and cooperation, and we know that there is so much more that we can do together. Mr. President, your visit today is the starting point for the next chapter in the Ireland-Ukraine story. The people in this room, each and every one of you, leaders from both the private sector and the public sector, have an important role to play in writing that story. And today's inaugural Ireland-Ukraine Economic Forum is the first of what we can expect to be an annual event. It will convene stakeholders from both countries, across the public, across the private and research sectors, to create partnerships, to identify opportunities to collaborate, to contribute to Ukraine's reconstruction when the time is right, and to drive forward our economic relationship. And I think we have all of the right people in the room here today from Ireland and Ukraine to heed this call and to drive this ambition forward. Ukraine's economy continues to show remarkable resilience in the face of great challenges. Irish and overseas companies are investing, are doing business, including some who are with us here today. And I want to acknowledge those who are with us here today doing business in Ukraine, and those from Ukraine who have now established and set up their own business here. Our state enterprise body, Enterprise Ireland, is working to develop those partnerships through its office in Warsaw and Pathfinder projects for Ukraine. The key message today is for the potential for those that explore opportunity early, and the importance of building relationships now so that companies can be successful, that they can enter the Ukrainian market, and that Ukrainian companies can benefit from the Irish market. The government, Ireland's embassy in Kyiv and all of Team Ireland stand ready to support this work, and later this evening I look forward to holding the first of a new strategic dialogue between Ireland and Ukraine when I meet with my colleague, Foreign Minister Sibiya. Andre, I really do look forward to strengthening our relationship in the time ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honour to introduce the Taoiseach Micheál Martin and invite him to deliver opening remarks to this forum. Shukuro da Kuyu. Thank you.
President Zelensky, Taoiseach and Ministers McEntee, Minister for Enterprise Peter Burke, Minister for Agriculture Martin Hayden, Minister for Higher Education and Research James Lawless, Minister O'Brien, Minister Lee Smith, Minister Neil Richmond, Minister Jack Chambers. I didn't realise for so long. Minister Thomas Byrne, the European Union. But it does illustrate the commitment of the entire Irish Government to this agenda and to the agenda of developing business and investment with Ukraine. I'm particularly pleased to be with you all here today for the inaugural Ireland-Ukraine Economic Forum. And it's been my particular honour to welcome His Excellency President Zelensky to Ireland at such a difficult time for Ukraine and its people. Volodymyr, you are most welcome, and in Dublin you are among steadfast friends. Russia's war against the right of the people of Ukraine to be free has been going on for many years. The latest and most brutal campaign launched in February 2022 was one which the Putin regime arrogantly believed would quite quickly succeed. They believed that the sheer scale of Russian military advantage and its propaganda war could not be resisted. But they were dramatically wrong. They were wrong because they simply cannot understand the will of a people to be free, the will of a people to live in a country which respects democratic rights, the will of a people to be part of a community of free democracies. Mr. President, the bravery, dignity and determination of the Ukrainian people in the face of this savage assault of an imperialist aggressor is deeply inspiring. You and the people of Ukraine are fighting for European values that we all cherish: freedom, democracy and the rule of law. After nearly 4 years, you have shown time and again that the people of Ukraine will not freely give up their values and their demand to be free. In June, I spoke to the European Parliament on behalf of the Irish Government and people, and I made it clear then that Ukraine's struggle is a struggle for European values, and that we have a duty to support Ukraine's membership of the European Union. More than ever before, the people of Ukraine have a right to have our unequivocal support in their quest for a secure European future. You have our unswerving respect and our deepest admiration, and you have our unwavering support and solidarity for as long as it takes. Mr. President, as the world has seen, these are critical weeks for Ukraine, and you know well that my government stands fully with you. We welcome all efforts to secure a just, secure and lasting peace, including those led by the United States. Through your leadership, you have shown that Ukraine is ready and willing to engage to bring this illegal and brutal war to an end. That same resolve is wholly absent in Moscow, and we've yet to see any sign that Putin has any interest in peace. Rather, Russia has intensified its attacks on Ukraine in a bid to gain leverage at the negotiating table. It must not be allowed to succeed. We will continue to stand with you until peace comes, as it will, and we look forward to the day. The people of Ukraine's deepest desire is to be able to live in peace, and I am determined that Ireland will play a role in the recovery and reconstruction which Ukraine will require. And this is what we are here to talk about this afternoon. When President Zelensky and I met earlier in government buildings, we were both very keen to take the enormously positive and friendly relationship between our countries and to make it deeper and wider by strengthening our economic ties. We want this to happen government to government level, business to business and people to people. There is real potential for trade and investment in both directions, and we want to see it flourish. Throughout the war, the Ukrainian people and Ukrainian enterprises have shown themselves to be enormously creative, innovative and resilient. These are qualities that we in Ireland appreciate and hopefully mirror. In September 2024, Ireland and Ukraine agreed a comprehensive agreement on support for Ukraine and cooperation between Ukraine and Ireland. The agreement involves pursuing bilateral and long-term commitments across a range of areas, including support to the recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine. Russia's aggression has taken an enormous economic, social, cultural and human toll. that can never be reversed or forgotten. The destruction by Russia of housing, roads, railways, electricity generation and other infrastructure continues. Earlier this year, the United Nations estimated that it would take €500 billion to rebuild what has been lost. Recovery and reconstruction will be an enormous task, and it will take time. It will demand the same commitment from the international community, and Ireland is fully committed to playing its part. In the European Union, Ireland strongly supports the European Union-Ukraine facility, which provides Ukraine with up to €50 billion in stable and predictable financial support from 2024 to 2027. The European Union is also mobilising international support for Ukraine's economic and social stabilisation, reconstruction and recovery from the effects of war. I've made it very clear to my colleagues in the European Council that we must find a way of using Russia's assets for Ukraine. It would be an unconscionable outcome if these assets were allowed to return to Russia. Mr. President, Ireland has been transformed economically and socially by our membership of the European Union. It has been an overwhelmingly positive experience for us. We want the same thing for the people of Ukraine. We want to see a prosperous and peaceful Ukraine take its rightful place in the European Union family of nations and shared values. European Union enlargement will be a key priority of our European Union presidency in the second half of next year. I give you my personal assurance that we will continue to be proactive and steadfast supporters of Ukraine during our presidency. Ireland's economic development did not happen overnight, but with a stable political environment and a pro-enterprise society in Ireland, we have been able to prosper within the European Union and further afield. We know that you will too. In that context, I am delighted to be able to announce additional support for the OECD's Ukraine Country Programme, recognising the important role that the OECD can play in advancing Ukraine's reform path and economic development. It is wonderful to see the interest of our Irish business community in this forum today. Mr. President, in the audience here today, there are some very senior and successful people from the agribusiness, medical technology, pharmaceutical, construction, communications technology, logistics, transport, aviation, and in the energy sectors. And these are sectors in which Ireland excels at an international level. And I'm sure that these senior people are here because they support the reconstruction of Ukraine and wish to support the Ukraine economy. I know of Ukraine's need for investment in all of these sectors, and I hope that this forum can lay the foundation for further partnerships between businesses in Ireland and businesses in Ukraine. There are already some large Irish companies active in Ukraine and others with advanced interest in investment and partnership. Despite the daily damage inflicted by Russia, the Ukrainian economy has remained remarkably resilient and has potential for stronger growth. 8 Irish companies attended the recent Rebuild Ukraine conference in Warsaw, a clear sign that interest is growing. I would also like to acknowledge that many of the companies, their employees and shareholders have contributed to the humanitarian effort in Ukraine, and I commend them for that. I want to also take this opportunity to pay tribute to the contribution that thousands of Ukrainians who have come to Ireland since the start of this terrible war have made to Irish life. They are most welcome. I know that you look to the day when peace returns, and that when it comes, many of your fellow countrywomen and men can return home. As a country that has experienced migration, this is something that we understand. Ukrainians who have made their homes with us and those who return will create bridges between our two countries. I would like to recognise the contribution made by Ukrainians to the Irish economy, working across all the sectors I mentioned. I know that we have a few Ukrainian-owned or run businesses here today as well. We welcome the contribution they are making to our economy, and the key role they can play in the future, stimulating economic links between our two countries. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier today, together with President Zelensky, we signed an ambitious roadmap on the Ukraine-Ireland partnership, which sets out a range of areas where our countries will work together to further build and strengthen our cooperation. We have agreed that today's Ukraine-Ireland Economic Forum will become an annual event, and we are encouraging Irish and Ukrainian businesses to work together and to consider creating a Ukraine-Ireland Business Council. Such councils are an important platform for business connections and partnerships and identifying opportunities for closer business links. And so, therefore, I wish this forum every success today and hope that it will stimulate just such a council. And I would like to thank IBEC and Enterprise Ireland for their efforts in making today's events possible. President, the strength, resilience and determination of the Ukrainian people has inspired the world. So too has your innovation, creativity and accomplishments in technology, industry, science, and in the resilience of your economy. Even in these dark days, we work for better times, when the Ukrainian people can chart their own path towards prosperity in freedom and liberty. On a personal level, I want to say how inspiring you have been in your leadership. At some of the most tense moments of the last 4 years, you have participated in European summits. I and everyone present have been able to see your absolute determination that Ukraine will never bow down to the aggressor, that your values and culture will survive and sustain, that now will be the moment when justice will prevail. Because of you and because of the people of Ukraine, the cry of all who believe in freedom and democracy is and will remain Slava Ukraini. Thank you very much indeed.
To our Minister for Foreign Affairs for those opening remarks, and it is with real great pleasure to introduce now on stage His Excellency Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy. Please join us. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. You haven't had much time to draw a breath since you got a standing ovation after your speech to the Oireachtas, so thank you for joining us here immediately after. You've been building up a lot of momentum.
And I feel sorry that I will not have time.
Well, we'll hold on to you for as long as we can here this evening, so thank you. I know there's been a lot of momentum in recent days around peace negotiations. Your team were in Miami, you were in Paris yesterday. We know you bring a message of peace today here in Ireland. As you're probably aware, the Russian president this evening was asked for his thoughts on those peace negotiations, and he talked about European demands are not acceptable to Russia, was his quote, and he said, if Europe wants to fight, we are ready now. You're bringing a message of peace. What do you say back to that tonight?
Really, between us, it's very difficult to comment the words of leader of Russia, because he really doesn't want to finish this war, because he didn't get all the goals what he wanted at the very beginning of this aggression. He wanted to destroy us totally, our freedom, our people, but he really been very surprised. Everybody understands who knows him and who doesn't. And that he didn't get any real goal what he wanted to destroy and break Ukraine and Europe. Then when we had, I think, successful historical mission, when it was a little bit between us, we also been surprised how all of us could be united. Yes, we tried our best and it worked. And it works still. I'm very thankful to your country. You're one of these best our friends. Thank you. And that's why Putin. I mean, now he's thinking how to find new reasons not to finish this war. And we count on pressure from the United States and the people of the world. I think so. They are a very strong country. And they said that we have to work on this plan, and they will pressure on both sides. Of course, we wanted them to be more on our side, but okay, mediator. So, and they began to pressure both sides, and we supported the ideas and ceasefire and no conditions for ceasefire. And now we have been in the plan of 28 points. Then we changed to 20 points. And the American mission, they went. You can stop me.
Keep going
if you want. So, but they moved where we are now. We heard the position of Americans. They heard our position. And now we hear the position before any kind of dialogue between Russians and Americans. He said, no, if Europeans want to fight, we will fight. So, I mean, he's underlined by this word that he's not Europeans.
You had said earlier today that your visit to Ireland came at one of the most challenging yet optimistic moments. So, despite those comments by President Putin tonight, do you remain optimistic? Are you confident of what happens next in terms of peace negotiations and milestones?
Yeah, look, it's a little bit optimism was in my words because of some speed of negotiations, and from American side, their interest in it. It showed that America is not withdrawing now from any kind of diplomatic way of dialogue, and it's good. And it's been that they gave us a signal, so it's about negotiations. If you're ready, we will work. They've got these signals from us. But this is where we are. I mean, for me, it's nothing new. The words of Putin, not new. But we have to hope. We don't just hope. We work, and we are on the battlefield, and we work in countries. We work with different countries, with partners, to support Ukraine and our soldiers. So we not just hope. We hope and work, hardly work each day. And we hope, of course, because we want peace. That's why it's optimism. I think this is realism. We need to bring peace closer.
In your speech today, you were reflecting on the histories shared between Ireland and Ukraine.